Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be comparing the recent Kap40 and B23R nerfs. For those of you that noticed, there was an update to your Black Ops 2 yesterday, and in the developer patch notes, it says that the Kap40 damage was reduced, the B23R damage was reduced, the Dual Wield B23R damage was reduced, and the hipfire on the B23R was made less accurate. Being the informational channel that I am, I thought it would be a good idea to put these to the test, and what I found was surprising. The patch notes, while not entirely correct, were definitely misleading. These guns were definitely nerfed, but not exactly in the way that Treyarch said they were nerfed. First up, the Kap40 damage was not reduced. The Kap40 still retains the exact same damage that it had previously, being 45 to 19, 45 up close, dropping off to 19 at a distance, and it still retains its dual wield damage buff, dropping off to 24 at a distance. The B23R damage was also not reduced. It's still a 3-shot kill up close, I believe that's 45 damage a shot as well, and dropping off to 6 shots at a distance down there at 19 damage. No apparent reduction in damage in the B23R. I tested out the dual B23Rs. Those also have no damage reduction going on. The B23Rs, like the Kap40 and all of the other pistols, get a slight damage increase to their minimum damage when you do this, and what it did is it still killed in 5 shots instead of 6 when dual wielded, so the dual wield damage was not reduced. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, well Treyarch said these 3 things had damage reductions and Drifter is saying they're not. Well, somebody's crazy here. What actually happened is that the range of the Kap40 B23R and dual B23R have been reduced. This game calculates damages based on if you're closer to the gun that's being fired, it deals more damage than when you're really far away. That's where you get a lot of hit markers when people are far away, and what they decided to do was to decrease the effective range of these weapons, so they are effectively dealing less damage at some ranges. They're not going to be dealing less damage in close quarters combat. They're not going to be dealing less damage far away. Where you're really going to see the damage reduction is going for those middle range shots with the Kap40 and B23R. That's probably the point of the patch, because the Kap40 outperformed most of the submachine guns in this range at, I would say, medium to short range, kind of not quite up in your face. Well, it was actually very powerful up in your face, but it also performed a lot of submachine guns a little bit further out. It no longer does that. You're going to have 4 shots to kill instead of 3. B23R is the same way. The guns aren't going to feel too different, especially if you use these as a true backup weapon. If you draw these weapons only in close quarters combat, you're absolutely not going to notice any difference at all. However, if you're going for longer shots for medium range kills, they're going to feel a tad weaker. They're not going to feel drastically, ridiculously weaker, but they're just going to feel a little bit more weak sauce. Probably a good patch in the long run. Should have been done a long time ago. I get a little flustered when it says damage reduced and it's a range reduction. They're different things, but that's okay because I'm a technical guy. The one thing that happened exactly like they said it did was that the dual B23Rs are less accurate now. They're about the same as the dual Kap40. If you remember back in the previous patch, the dual Kap40s were made less accurate. The dual B23Rs got essentially the same buff because the pro players, they swapped off from the Kap40s over to the B23Rs. We had the same problem. We had the same problem in pubs. So now the B23R and the Kap40 have been equally nerfed with each other. They're about the same. They both are now close quarters pistols. They're not medium range pistols. They're not long range pistols. And the hipfire accuracy is a little bit wonky. It's not as easy to hit people, and although they still retain their damage buff from being fired hipfire. The patch notes are slightly misleading, but the guns definitely were somewhat nerfed. I would have worded it differently, but just do keep in mind that the pistols aren't dealing weak sauce damage now. They just have a range reduction, so maybe if you were running a silencer, take that off. Maybe put long barrel on to compensate. I would say that the reduction felt like probably 30 to 50-ish%. I'm a little bit foolish in that I didn't write down exact ranges for the pre-patch, but the post-patch felt like it was about half to a third, well, 2/3 to 1/2 of the same range of what it was supposed to be, so they did get a nerf. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you enjoyed the update. If you'd like to check out the previous episode on EMP grenades, you can click the box on the left. It'll open in a new window. My next episode is going to be on overkill. That was supposed to be today, but the patch kind of derailed that, and I have a class building app down there in the description. If you need help with any of your classes, I'll give you advice via my app. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.